This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here are your hosts, Ryan Alford and Chris Hansen.
Hello, and welcome to Vibe Science. We're always taking you to your highest vibe. It's about mind, body, energy. We're here to empower you to take care of yourself. We don't know it all, but that's why we bring some of the best guests, some of the most insightful knowledge and key learnings. Chris Hansen, my co-host, is in Miami. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Ryan? How are you today, bro?
I'm good, man. You know, I feel like I'm going to go to my highest vibe. I think, literally we're talking vibrations. We're talking all kinds of stuff. We got Ami. He is the co-founder and CEO of Roga. What's up, Ami?
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Been good.
Good, man. Just talking. You're in San Diego. We got the whole map covered here. We got South Carolina, Florida, and California. We're going all over the map.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
Beautiful winter weather for those people in the north that are probably a little bit jealous of us right now.
Yes. I'm a former Google product designer, maker, all those things. What makes someone like yourself get into product design? I mean, what was, like the motivation? Money?
I am a hardware geek at heart. I just love gadgets. The first time I encountered one was the Google Chromecast, which I think until today is probably the best thing Google has created in hardware. And I joined that team when we were 10 people. So the beginning of hardware, it was exhilarating, and we were creating new stuff, just building beautiful product that can help people to improve their quality of life. Like I love that about wearables and hardware. There's something about a physical product that software doesn't get you. And seeing the product on the shelves and actually making decisions 2 years in advance. It's really nice. It comes with stress, but it's I love it.
Yeah, there's some irony which we'll talk about in what you did and the stress that it probably created for yourself. But then, ultimately, you're doing today. And I agree with you. Physical product. There is something. I marketed physical product. I was in ushered in the smartphone era. I've been in marketing my whole career. First iPhone launch. All the major smartphones and all were sort of branded. I helped put the iPhone on the map, and then I helped kick their ass with the Droid for a temporary time until Motorola bailed on our campaign. So, but another life, another life. But it is something about the physical product though, and the transformative nature of it. The hardware, the software, and what, I don't know, technology is allowing these days. And now, I mean, we're on a whole nother level with AI and all that stuff. You've watched it all unfold, right, Ami?
Yes, I mean, when we launched the Google Home, when I was a PM at Google and trying to figure out it was really scary to put AI in people's houses. Now people just have AI absolutely everywhere. But PR was a nightmare when we started putting the assistant in everyone's house. But in the Pixel phone was a big jump for us. I've always liked how hardware can affect our lives, and if it's good piece of hardware, beautiful piece of hardware, well thought out, that I like. I really dislike ugly looking products and products that okay, this does the thing, but it doesn't matter how it looks, doesn't matter the packaging experience. I think lack of taste is a problem in hardware world.
Yes. Yeah, I think Jonah Ivey would agree with you, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Talk to me, like your journey. Set the table for our audience. What from Google to Roga. Let's talk about that path. Well,
I think two important things happened for me while I was working in hardware at Google. The first one was that working with the early days of the Pixel watch and the acquisition of Fitbit. But And I've seen this play out in a lot of different wearables. There's a ton of emphasis from the big players to get as much data as they can from you and to do what's called reactive information or reactive biomarker data. So your Fitbit and your Apple Watch will tell you exactly everything that's wrong, or like even the good things, but they'll tell you how bad you slept and how much you didn't drink water and you didn't exercise today, and like your bed should be 100 degrees less cooler and so forth. But the burden is always on the user. You should do something about it. You should go to the gym. You should sleep better. You should buy and spend $3,000 on your mattress. And it's always the burden on the user. You should go and meditate. That works really well when you're in a really good state, and that the UX team showed us that when we were doing the research. But when you're in a bad state, when you're not in the fitness mode, where you're not in the happy mode, that data can be very tough to swallow. Could be detrimental for you. So like we saw that people were actually doing worse when they were showing all those biomarker data.
Yeah.
Because the burden is so much. Like, I don't know if you've been in that state, but like, shit, I know I should have gone to the gym today, but I wasn't feeling like it. Then like now all your biomarkers are rough. And so the burden is always on the user. I wanted something that could be proactively helping the user without the need of medication, which it's a whole different spectrum. But that was the first thing that I realized. The second thing is, after a long time of working at the very high stakes level, hardware is hard, especially when you're launching, phones in Japan, Australia, Europe, and Canada at the same time. So I wasn't really sleeping and taking care of myself. So burnout was real. I ended up going to the therapist. Most of the time, therapist only has a few minutes with you, so I got prescribed with the SSRIs. So Celexa, Prozac, Zoloft, name it, and you go through a few of those to see what helps. That's, I think, the common story at least in the US and Canada, where we over medicating. What they don't tell you is that it's really hard to quit those meds. Can be really, really hard. And like, I didn't know when I started. So that process of going through a bad spiral of burnout and anxiety and panic attacks in the middle of the office, and hiding in a room so nobody sees it, that's really, it struck me like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't care if this job is good and pays well. Like, this is not life. So that's when I decided to quit. This is actually, incidentally, right before the pandemic that I quit. So then I started focusing on my mental health. And first thing I wanted to do is like, well, I love hardware. There must be some really cool tech out there for hardware to biohack. And I started going to neuroscience conferences in San Francisco, where I was. That's where I met my co-founder. She's a PhD in neuroscience. And there are quite a lot of really cool tech out there to help with mental health that it's minimally invasive, that doesn't have that many side effects as drugs do, and that can have a lasting change in your habits and your mental health. So I went into that spiral, and slowly but surely the first device came out of the kitchen, solder it in the kitchen with a few pieces of. We went to Lowe's and kind of like build it, and that's how hardware works, And I started using it on myself. I got off tampered off medication that way. By no means I recommend anyone to do that. I think you should talk with your physician before you do that. But I managed to do that, and so did my co-founder. And so much that she decided to quit her job as a researcher and joined the company as a co-founder. And other friends that tried it and like that were dealing with anxiety, they really saw the difference. So I'm like, okay, maybe we have something interesting here. And we built a company around it.
Yeah.
So there's been like, I don't know, about 11 iterations of the product after that in the last 3.5 years. And now we have a product in the market that we launched this year that can really help people reduce their stress, burnout, and anxiety in a way that is not invasive, not scary, and it only takes a few minutes a day.
It's you know, you mentioned something that I've found to be true, which is the devices that have been out there for fitness and biohack and that kind of thing. And even, I mean, Will Ahmed, who I consider a friend, who founded Whoop, I stopped wearing those devices because I felt like measuring yourself every second of the day was not healthy for me, like mentally. You know, like looking at the numbers like constantly. Now, I mean, I know you need accountability, so I think it just depends on the person. I mean, because he's built a wonderful company, a wonderful platform, but it's just for me, I agree with that kind of sentiment of, oh God, here's all my bad numbers for the day. You know, let me think about how I'm going to solve this issue. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. Yeah.
I have tried all of them. I was part of designing the Pixel Watch and Whoop and Aura Ring and all of those. Those are great tools. But I think again, the burden is always on the user to do something with that data. It's not the company that is helping them to make those decisions. And when you're in a bad state, anxiety is usually goes on a spiral. Those are really tough numbers to look at. Then if you're not going to the gym every day and you're not eating properly and you're not sleeping well, your numbers don't look great.
Yeah.
So that's where Roga came in for me, to build a device that can proactively do the stuff without me needing to do anything, just to get you in the right state. So physiologically, once you're in the right state, and we can talk a little bit about what the device does, but once you're in the right state, that's when you can actually receive information and make good decisions. So that's when then the Whoop and all these other devices, and we're incorporating sensors in our device as well, but that's when you can actually talk to a therapist. That's when can relate to people and listen and get feedback and so forth. But when you're in a bad physiological state, the worst thing somebody can tell you if you're in a bad state is calm down, relax, just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And you're about to, you think you're having a heart attack or something. So
talk to me about the technology and what Roga does, how it interacts with the body, and what kind of its overall purpose in relieving anxiety.
Yeah, sure. So let's unpack it a little bit. So Roga delivers a very specific stimulation to the peripheral nerve that's behind the ear. And this sends a signal to the brain to reduce activity that's causing stress, anxiety, fear, overwhelm. So let's unpack that. So there are two electrodes that sit behind the ears, the skin. As you can see it, I'm wearing it right now. We made it very discreet so that you can wear it in public. And what it does is that there's a nerve that goes behind the ears called the great auricular nerve. And when you stimulate that nerve in a very specific way, it sends a signal to two main parts of the brain. So one is targeting the default mode network. That's the part of the brain which becomes overactive during stress. And then, that the default mode network is where that leads to thoughts of worry and rumination and, frustration in general. So for people with chronic stress, like where I was, brain activity in the default network is usually elevated, which makes it really hard to rest and focus and sleep. And the device helps reduce the overactivity, restoring it to a more restful state and regulating the nervous system. And the second area that we address is the brain's fear center, which is the amygdala, which is located in a place called the hippocampus. And the amygdala is responsible for identifying danger during chronic stress, and it triggers continuously a fear response when maybe not a real threat exists, but we're wired that way. So it leaves you in a constant state of agitation. So this regulation can be manifested in physical symptoms like increased heart rate, Some people feel it like, for me, sweating or restlessness, which is really make it really hard to calm down, or function in that way. You might not be able to even talk to people. So, meditation and exercises and breathing exercises can really help with low levels of stress. Those are usually not enough when you're on a moderate to severe level of stress, when the nervous system is completely dysregulated, as I mentioned. So people in these states often turn to, therapy or medication, like I did. But, those can be, can have a lot of side effects and so forth. So that's how the device works per se. The stimulation is a very gentle pulse to the nervous system, and it brings you into a parasympathetic state, which is more calm and relaxed. Physiologically, literally what's happening is, because all of your brain, all of your organs and systems are managed by electricity, you can actually measure the frequency of every single organ system. So you can measure the electricity that's in your brain, in your heart, in your lungs, and you can see what those rate. That's what respiratory rate, heart rate, brain activity, those can all be measured in frequency. So literally physiologically what's happening, all those systems are going to alignment, which a little bit in means to be in Zen, in the flow, in alignment. Physiologically means all your organs are beating and working at the same frequency electrically. So that can be entrained with a little bit of pulse to the nervous system. Then that's what we're doing.
How often do you wear it? And so, like, what's the protocol for someone? Is it when you're under duress, maybe you reach for the Roga, or is it you're timed out during the day?
Yeah, the best thing is to have a routine, of course. For mental health, that's usually the best thing. So we advise people to use it anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes per day. That also already has clinical levels of efficacy, 10 to 60 minutes per day. And then when in the day, it depends on your routine. It could be when anxiety arises or when you're feeling really stressed. That's a good time to put it on. Or if you actually don't have those episodes, then choose a day, a part of the day where you already have a routine and stack it on top of that. And that actually really, really helps to generate a daily routine. But the idea is to use it daily, 10 to 60 minutes a day. And that actually starts generating new neurological paths, more resilience in your day. You see that you trigger less, which is really, really important. I always tell some of our users that don't have a meditation practice, which is ironically the majority of the people that of our users don't really have a mindfulness practice, to choose the worst meeting of your day. Which one is the worst? Which person you hate, or which person triggers you? Put it on during that meeting.
Oh no, you got it on for this episode. Like, I don't know how to take that on me.
Yes.
I thought you loved us.
I do, but talking in public is always stressful. So that's what helps me regulate. But I wish I had this with some of the tough meetings when I was at work. So, but if you have a mindfulness practice and you already have generated the practice, then by all means use Roga with it. And we have a companion app that has. So we went and filmed a ton of content. We went out at the beginning and figured out what the people wanted to do. They put the device on, and a lot of the users were asking for it. So we went and got coaches, cognitive behavioral therapy coaches and mindfulness coaches, and we book a few studios and we film content. That's how we started. So there's about 200 sessions of videos. This is video sessions of coaches walking you through different types of stressful situations.
And that's it, Roga.ai, right?
Yes, yeah. The reason the AI comes into place is also quite interesting. We had the content, but it's impossible to predict what people are struggling with. So you can make infinite amount of content and you'll never get that personalization. So users wanted to get more personalized with their content, and AI is great at creating personalized content. Maybe we're not at the stage where it can be your therapist, although we're heading into that direction with AI, but it can definitely create really compelling content. So we've been training our own model to generate mindfulness sessions on any topic, and personalize it to you, and it learns from your previous iterations. So when you do a meditation and it tells your name and it knows what you're going through, that can be really powerful.
Yeah. And I can't help but think that if it relaxes you, I mean, do you wear it like before sleep or before bed or something? I mean, I don't know, my mind gets in if it can like calm my brain down before I sleep, that might seem like a good use.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of our users wear it before going to bed. There's a lot of really cool soundscapes and audios for that in the app. So you can wear it on before going to bed. And the research also shows that the less anxious and stressed you are, the better your sleep also gets impacted. So definitely as a sleep aid tool can be helpful. So right before going to bed, some people use it in the morning. If they have a lot going on, they want to start in a good state. So for everyone, is a little bit different.
Yeah. Talk to me about testing. You mentioned it like clinically, this or that. Like, what kind of testing when involved in your product, and like I've been around and know enough, and Chris and I have had enough guests on. We know the complexities of like clinical testing and all that stuff. Like, it's not as I invite a couple friends over and they can throw it on and let's see if it works. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, isn't there?
Yes. And for startups, it's tough because those are quite expensive also. So we've received, thankfully, we managed to get grants from the US and the Canadian government to do some of these trials. And we've partnered with neuroscience institutions and universities to help us with the trials, which is really good. We've done a few. The most recent one, I think, is, for me, it's one of the most impactful in terms of the data that we saw. We did it with the University of Waterloo in Canada. And what we saw was, so we know the technology can help if you use it for a few weeks, because it starts creating new neurological paths, and you can get into a good routine of good mental health habits. But we wanted to know what happens if you only use it once. It's like, will it do something if you just put it once? We really wanted to know. So we gave it to, I think it was 40 different students who had to mention the levels of stress and anxiety. This is the GAD-7, the generalized anxiety disorder scale. They had to be on a high or above. So like not moderate, not low. These are students that struggle. Put it on for 30 minutes, and we measured pretty much all of your biomarkers and see what happens. And we saw the difference in heart rate. We saw the difference in their EEG, how like slowly it started taking the alpha and beta waves started taking over the whole brain within that session. And then the GAD-7, which is the therapeutic survey, got them from a high of a 14 level to a low of a 7 level. That's 47% reduction in anxiety symptoms within one session. And that was a third-party trial. It's done by the university. So that really speaks to how dysregulated someone can be and how quickly you can actually come back into a state of relaxation with the right tools. But I think most people don't know where to find those right tools, especially younger population that doesn't have the tools or the resources. You end up doing whatever your friends are doing. And that's usually not always the best path. So this is one of the reasons we created the company. And then speaking of clinical trials, we're currently recruiting for a much bigger trial with the mental hospital in Toronto, where we partner with them, with therapists, to actually see how much we can alleviate the current levels of burnout, stress, and anxiety from their current patients. So I think that's where where we realize how helpful this could be. And within that trial, you have, feedback from users telling us, just having it in my purse, it just avoids me, triggering or having panic attacks. And that is the reason we're doing this.
We should record this a few weeks ago. This would be a great Christmas gift. I mean,
yeah, you can still get it. We just launched in Amazon as of a week ago, so you can still get it for in time for Christmas. But we did went to a few events in the previous weeks, and from both of the events, we sold out every unit we had in the booths because people are like, "Oh yeah, I need this for my husband, for my sister, for my daughter, for my father." Some of them might be getting it for themselves, and they're not telling us, and that's perfectly fine. But it speaks to the need for this. As the community grows and we evolve the product and the technology, I think we're going to be able to help more people.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, you're the wearable guy amongst the two of us. I try it. I think this is perfect for me because it's just the 10 to 60 minutes. I can do that. I mean, this might be the perfect one for me because I can throw that thing on and then I can take it off. So, but Chris,
I've got my Whoop on. And
yep.
All the points made are true. I mean, even with my Whoop, I'm like, all right, it told me I slept like shit. Now am I going to just mentally feel like shit all day because I saw some bad data that skewed my opinion of my day,
And Chris, one thing about all the wearables you have, this one, you plug to your phone. So no batteries. I don't know if you struggle with that, but sometimes I put my Aura and like,
I do.
This doesn't have battery. I'm like, okay, I lost another sleep data. And
believe me, there's times where I'll want it.
I'm going to sleep bad because I didn't track it.
I'll do that. I'll like with the Apollo, for example, I'll be like, well, it's not charged. How am I going to get to sleep? And it's like, dude, come on. And I always end up falling asleep, but no, I love the wearables. I love what you said that this is proactive. You can go on the offense to get better, right? Even getting medication isn't beyond offense. You're just kind of sitting back, hoping it works. Mm-hmm. So, dude, I'm fully. I hope you have a discount code or something because I full on plan on ordering one of these after we get off of this.
Yes, we'll add the discount codes for anyone in the. We'll add it here in the comments. So anyone can see this video can get it, the discount
have some family
you
members
guys.
I think could benefit from this as a Christmas gift.
Yeah, I know. Chris, I might have to get it for you, though. I'll put it in your stocking. Yeah. I mean, talk to me like where you're taking the company. Like you mentioned a little bit of, like sensors, other things, but obviously like any good product developer, you don't sit still. So you're going to keep evolving. Yeah.
Yes. So the first thing is I would say the only thing is what do users think? Is this helpful? What is their feedback? And we get a ton of feedback from users. Thankfully, very low levels of returns, which speaks to we're probably doing something right. But most importantly, we get feedback on things features that people want and things that they want added. So we are constantly working on improving it. I come from the Google world where we were launching products every 8 to 12 months. So that's the path we're following, and there'll be Roga 2 next year and Roga 3 as well next year. So those are already on the way. Most importantly, the clinical trials really help us to understand the biomarkers and which sensors work the best for predicting and analyzing patterns of dysregulation. And then we can modulate stimulation based on that. And that feedback loop is actually, I would say, the holy grail of neurofeedback and where neuroscience is going. The fact that we have embedded audio capabilities with the AI, and it can talk to you throughout your session with biomarkers, it's a very different meditation if it knows where you are. So we ask you, but and then the current trial is actually, we partner with Fitbit. My former team, we partner with them to do the trial and get all the right biomarker data. But that's what's going to feed the algorithm and the machine learning module to assess how to modulate the stimulation. I think a lot of the devices out there, again, Apollo is a good example, but there's a few of those that are really, very good devices. But again, the burden is on the user to choose the what's right for them. Like, I think there's like different modes: sleep for anxiety, for stress, for happiness, and so forth. And the pressure on the user to choose what they want. And sometimes when you're in a bad state, again, it's really hard to make decisions, guys. It's just, sure, I want all of the above. So I think having a smart system that can recognize where you are and can do it for you, I think it's really important. And that's where we're heading with the device, and then that's where we're heading with the content in a more personalized way. The future is personalized companionship and personalized stimulation through these devices.
How about children? Can kids use this safely?
So, although the technology is non-invasive, there's very little side effects to it. We haven't done any testing on minors, so can't recommend that for minors. But we are planning to do a trial on that realm so that we can actually put our backing behind it. But we're very much backed by science, and it's an engineering and neuroscience team. So we only will back up whatever the data shows. So right now there's not enough data for us to recommend it to children. Although I know it's a big problem that we need to tackle. Right now we're focusing on 18 and above.
Yep. That's great. Hey, you guys are doing a lot of great things. Where can everybody learn more about Roga and everything you're doing?
Yeah, so our website, roga.ai, easy to find. You can get all the information there, the science part, the explanation on the device. You can choose different colors. We believe in a fashion statement when you're wearing products. So definitely there's a color there for you and a different style. And if you have any comments or feedback or ideas for new products, we're always developing new stuff. Send us an email. And if you want to be part of the team, we're also recruiting at info.roga.ai. So info@roga.ai. And yeah, I'm happy to see what the community is saying. We're trying to grow the communities. So your ideas and your feedback on, anything from mental health or stress and anxiety related can help someone else. So that's one of the beauty about this, that a lot of people that are struggling, their entire world is a me thing. It's a symphony in me major. Just like it's everything about like I'm dysregulated. I can't do anything. And once you get out of that cycle, and I wish that for everyone, and hope with our device you can get through that. Then you start focusing a little bit more on contribution and helping others, and that's where you get the most fulfillment, I would say. So that's part of our mission. Yeah,
I think I could see this being like in college sports, like before the game, like the team doing 10 minutes with this before the game. To get everybody lined in the zone and removing the anxiety before the game and go play your best. I got all kinds of ideas, baby.
Yes, let's do it, Ryan. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I like it. It's an early times for us, so there's a lot of paths that we can follow. So these are good ideas.
Yes, exactly. And we get them branded, the sports color, they get a NBA license and the college license, all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get Chris the neon green in his stocking because that's his favorite color.
Perfect. One of the things that we can do, because we're in manufacturing a record, and every single part of the component we've designed internally. We don't have a contract manufacturer. There's a black box that does everything for us. We do everything internally. So every time we're producing a new batch, we're tweaking things and improving things. And people wanted this color, and like that's how we've been adding. So every other month we have something new on not only on the software but on the hardware side. So
I love it. We did our Vibe Science branded ones, like orange and red and all that stuff. So that's what we need.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll get it rolling. Ami, I think we've mentioned it multiple times, but drop the website everywhere they can keep up with you, the company, all that one more time. So
the website is roga.ai, and you can find us there. And if you want to contact us directly, we're very much happy to help out at info@roga.ai. Thank you, Ryan and Chris. It's been great. I love what you guys are doing with the podcast, really helping a lot of people with the content you're creating. And thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you're going to find us, vibescience.com. Hey, we're taking you to your highest vibe, baby. We're bringing people like Ami. We're bringing the best, the brightest, the newest ways to self-help. It's about empowering you to take it to your highest level. We'll see you next time on Vibe Science.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe.